You might have heard that YouTube channels have a life cycle, and although that's not applicable to every content creator, it is to some, and it seems like Shadiversity might be reaching its end. Shadiversity, the channel, is dying, and it's not for the quality of content. I genuinely believe, and the feedback certainly is to this effect, that we've been making some of the best content we ever have. And hundreds of thousands of people have been interested and are still in, or would be, and want to watch if they had actually been getting recommended the content. There's been people reaching out to me saying that they thought I had stopped uploading, but no, we've been releasing content as normal. They just stopped getting recommended it, and I'll show the evidence of what's going on. There's been a change in the last few months that has caused a stark and genuinely devastating suppression of our content's reach to both new viewers and current subscribers. As a result, views are down and revenue is the worst that it has ever been in the last 5 years. I'm not kidding. Like, when you look at the revenue where it's currently at now, the only time it's been so low, 5 years ago. And so it is quite literally only thanks to our supporters that we've been able to keep things going. And when I say keep things going, we're still in the red every single month, where I'm actually losing money each month, and where we are not sustainable at the moment. And with the projection of how things are going in terms of views and subscribers, it's, like I said, these are the very real signs of a channel's imminent death. Now, you might say imminent, like what's going on? Can't you just cut back costs and things like that? Making the content that we're making costs money. There are multiple people employed here, and with where things are at and where things look to be going, because it's just been getting worse, the channel in its current state will simply not be able to exist as it is. And I will talk about options about still making content and other things, but let me show you what's going on. This is the current subscriber rate on Shadiversity for the last 90 days, and you might notice a distinct and rather abrupt drop in January, where new subscriptions to the channel simply cut off, and we've been dancing around the 0 mark for nearly 3 months. Well, we're in the 3rd month now. The recently released videos in like this time period, over this 2 to 3 month period where subscriber growth has nearly, been non-existent, the views on the content during this time has been the worst it has been in nearly 5 years. Some videos might not look like that. There's the odd one that does well, like the reply to Veritasium, but the subscriber growth that we gain from those videos are not nearly what it should be, and the recommendation of these videos to new audiences barely are happening at all. And so the current content that we've been releasing through this time have been apocalyptically bad in regards to their reach to new audiences. Even the ones that did surprisingly well, like the carbon fiber armor video, over 300,000 views on that video, mostly coming from our regular subscriber base. But even now, more recently, recommendations even to our subscribers, especially these last 2 videos, which are 2 of the worst performing videos I've had in over 5 years, right? And they're fun, great videos. Even the videos that did well have not resulted in any large subscriber growth. And those are like I said, the ones that did well with the subscriber base, and the videos that recently have been devastatingly bad. How does something like this happen? One assumption is that it could be a sudden spike in unsubscriptions, and the new subscribers don't replenish the ones that are lost, leading to negative subscriber growth. Well, let me show you. We have had no sudden surge in unsubscriptions. Now, when you have a channel that's over 1 million subscribers, you lose a certain amount of subscribers every day. That's a perfectly run-of-the-mill normal. And so the standard rate of people unsubscribing from the channel, well, let me show you, is completely consistent and has been for over a year. Nothing has changed on that front. The spikes that you see there, that comes from the occasional either controversy or video that a number of your subscribers don't like. And I've made a couple of those, whether it's criticizing Elden Ring or nunchucks, or I make a video on AI art. Yeah, there's a number of people that leave, but That's all that happens, and it doesn't affect general normal unsubscribe rate of the channel, which is just the average amount of people that move past the channel and are not interested in watching anymore. It's when you see a sharp decline in subscriber growth that, even with the normal amount of people unsubscribing from the channel, obviously results in 0 to negative subscribers coming to the channel. So this result here is not due to a wave of people suddenly wanting to leave the channel because of any disagreement that we might have over politics, AI art, or nunchucks, or anything like that. And I want to repeat that because that's the thing that many skeptics and critics try to deny. There has been no increase in the average amount of people unsubscribing from the channel. Even with me being more politically outspoken on my other channel, Night's Watch, what people don't seem to realize is that for every person that can't separate the fact that I'm an outspoken conservative and Christian, with the non-political content that we're making here on Shadiversity, in conjunction with that is that Night's Watch is actually growing quite well and is bringing in new people to the audience and to my channels. It actually ends up balancing out, and there's no big controversy or thing that's happening that's causing people to just leave the channel. No, what this actually happens, okay, the result that causes this type of thing, the content itself is not getting shown to new viewers. This raises the question, why isn't the content being shown to new viewers? There must be some type of reason. Is it the quality of content? And some people have claimed that Shadiversity has changed over the years, and my answer is, well, yes. Yes, it has. That's because it was necessary due to my health, as well as it being for the better. I've been able to raise the production value of the content, and the feedback on this has been overwhelmingly positive. Remember that this sharp drop in suddenly the content not being recommended to any new viewers happened recently. It happened in January, okay? The changes I made with Shadiversity to bring on new hosts happened 2 years ago, all right? And we have made some incredible content as a multi-host channel. Videos that have gotten hundreds of thousands of views, ones that are already nearly in the millions. Videos that people have loved, and that is the content we are currently making. We are making content that people genuinely love, and that long-time subscribers on Shadiversity also really love. So the current content isn't actually the problem, and the quality that we've been pushing out has only been going up because that was one of the things I've been trying to do to bring back views, make better content. We've been pushing ourselves so hard to raise the quality level, but something else is happening behind the scenes to not let our current subscribers know not only about the new content, but the old content, and not showing it to new audiences. Current click-through rates on our content are actually higher than 2 years ago. The likes versus dislikes are actually still in the high 90%. Like, nothing has dropped in the likes versus dislike. Feedback in the comments are overwhelmingly positive about how much they're enjoying the content. And if the content was the issue with the death spiral it looks like Shadiversity is falling into, I would have seen our content suffer a similar drop on other platforms like TikTok, Facebook, Odyssey, BitChute, and Rumble. And by the way, when we started uploading on TikTok, our content exploded. We have over 100,000 subscribers on there over a very short period of time. It grew crazy fast with millions of views, but overall, no real growth on the platforms that matter in terms of getting higher ad revenue because you don't make money on TikTok, and there was really no point in sacrificing the man hours to keep pushing on that when we're suffering on the main area that we need to focus on. Having said that though, we do try and mirror our content on other platforms. YouTube broke mirroring on Rumble specifically, and so we haven't been able to put our content on that, but we're making active changes to now manually upload on Rumble as well. But the issue is that currently there is no viable, sustainable alternative to YouTube. We don't make money on any of these other platforms. Because even if you want to try and say that there's something different with the new content versus the old content, if you look at the most popular videos on the channel, these super popular videos are getting viewed currently a fraction, and I mean a fraction, of what they have been getting viewed 2 years ago, and even 4 years ago. And by the way, that was when my channel was even vastly smaller, okay? Yet I was getting vastly higher views on these popular videos. You would think with a larger subscriber base that there would be a large amount of people to recommend these old videos to, but the new subscribers, and by the way, in like the last 2 years, gained over maybe 350,000 new subscribers, and most of them do not get recommended the old content at all. To just emphasize the stark, and I mean shocking, difference and reduction that we have had in impressions currently on the channel, I want to show you the rate in which some of the most popular videos on Shadiversity get watched now versus only, a couple of years ago. And bear in mind, over the past 2 years, we have an additional 350,000 subscribers, okay? And so the channel, as is at the moment, we have a huge, that's one of the largest subscriber growth I've had in a long, like over at the period, similar periods of time. So that's a huge boost of new viewers, right? Usually when you get a boost of new subscribers, there's a whole heap of backlog content that they enjoy. And as a result, these popular videos, they continually get viewed because there's a constant flow of new subscribers to watch. There's those new subscribers there, but they're not getting recommended the content. Here is my most popular video I've ever made, over 7 million views on this one. And in the past month, it has had 2.4 thousand views. During this same time period, let's go back 2 years, but in the exact same time period, 2 years ago, 2022. Over that same time period, that video had 16.9 thousand views. Just compare that. 2.4 to 16.9. Now, let's compare that to 2020. Another 2 years. So this is 4 years ago. And have a look at how much this video got viewed 4 years ago. 72,000 views. This is a great video that heaps of people enjoy watching, that now is barely getting recommended at all, not even to my own new subscribers that would love this content, this video, but it's not getting recommended. And please bear in mind, YouTube as a platform keeps growing. It has the its user base is larger than it has ever been before, okay? There are entire new generations of people coming to YouTube that very well would love this content, but it's not getting shown to them. And this isn't the only one, by the way. My second most popular video, if we look at the views of the last 20 days, 680 views over the last month. And then, if we were simply to go back 2 years, that same video, 4.3 thousand views over that same period. And then, if we were to go back another 2 years, so this is now 4 years ago, that same video, 35,000 views. YouTube is barely recommending great content that's in people's backlog that their own subscribers would love to see. I have all these new subscribers, doesn't get recommended, and now they're barely getting recommended the current videos. Last 2 videos, like I said, apocalyptically bad. If you have a look at the amount of impressions Shadiversity has been receiving over the last year, you'll notice it's been the lowest it has been in the last year. But then if we go over to the lifetime of the channel, its impressions right down here are as low as it was in 2018, before my channel started to kind of take off. All right before here. That's as they're getting about the same amount. So if we have a look at where the average has been, about 1 million impressions a day by the look of it. And you have to go back toward before 2018 to reach the same level of impressions the channel's currently getting. Is it because there is just more content on the platform? More videos means less views between them? I actually think shorts have been devastating for both YouTube and content creators like me. But also, there are more users on the channel than ever before, like I've mentioned, and so it isn't like there is less views to go around. There's more people here to watch content. And I also get the feeling that Mr. Beast could survive with, say, perhaps half the amount of impressions or views he gets, and some of those impressions could be given to other content creators. Now, it's nothing against Mr. Beast, okay, but YouTube definitely has a preference to certain creators that it favors and boosts unfairly. YouTube is on record saying this, by the way. They're on record saying that they prioritize authoritative sources and they curate the trending page and recommendations. Do you remember that van life channel that got millions of subscribers and views on its second video that came out? And it's like, that does not happen organically. And so with all this curation and favoritism, well, that does leave far less impressions and room on the front page and people's what to watch next. It leaves far less of that for creators like me. Because I'm not the only one noticing this, by the way. YouTube simply is not a fair and open platform, and it absolutely suppresses recommendations and curates search results, trying to push the content it wants people to watch, not the content they would be most interested in. And it has distinctly gotten worse at the beginning of January, where things just fell off a cliff. It's like someone decided to put Shadiversity under a boot, and this is the type of thing that will kill the channel. And one of the issues is that even with how apocalyptic the ad revenue has been and views and all that stuff on Shadiversity at the moment, it still comprises the majority of my business's revenue, okay? And to try and keep people employed, if I were to leave this platform, it would kill the business. And I can't risk promoting people to watch the content off of YouTube, even though we actually do put it on multiple other platforms, right? Because we still need the views on YouTube, because as bad as ad revenue is, we're still reliant on it. What I can say though, like if we were able to grow the community support through channel memberships, Patreon, Subscribestar, or Player, right? To the point where we can be sustainable from viewership support and therefore not reliant on ad revenue, I can guarantee our content will not only be on all other platforms, like every video, I will be encouraging people to watch it on those platforms because I wouldn't need the views for the ad revenue. And YouTube seems to want to kill this channel and drive away certain content creators. It doesn't seem like that, it wants us here. And it seems like they try and do it gradually and subtly, suppressing certain niches, certain types of content to squeeze out these types of creators or genres of content, but more recently they've done it much more starkly. So even though we're still reliant on ad revenue, with how bad it's been these last few months, we might not be able to continue making content the way we have been. We've only been losing money each month. My wife and I have literally gone for multiple months without paying ourselves. November and December, we didn't pay ourselves a cent, and we lived off of the money we got from our tax returns. And I did that to try and keep people employed, paying wages. And even after doing that, I've needed to draw money out of the graphic novel profits and put it back in the business to keep paying wages, which is going to restrict or cast doubt on me being able to make additional graphic novel projects. Shadow of the Conqueror Volume 2 is insured. Money's already secured for that, but I was hoping to have some left over to do another graphic novel, and I don't know if I'll be able to now. So with how desperate things have been financially, I genuinely hope that everyone can understand how unbelievably grateful I am for all the supporters that we have at the moment. If it wasn't for you, we would be done. Or the business as it is, the channel, the type of content that would be made, it would be impossible for us to keep doing it. I would have been forced to have to contract. I'd have to let people go and kind of reel it back into a one-man show. The problem about that is my health. The reason why I brought on additional people is that it was becoming too difficult for me to produce the content on my own. If you weren't aware, I am disabled. I have chronic fatigue. It's officially called myalgic encephalomyelitis, or MECSF. And I've been pushing myself harder than I've ever pushed myself before to try and raise the quality, bring the content up, even in spite of how crippled I am behind the scenes, just to try and keep this thing afloat. And I can't tell you how unbelievably discouraging it is when you work so hard and you sacrifice a lot to try and keep things going, and then something outside of your control just crushes it. So to be fully sustainable off of fan support, we would need to basically triple our numbers from the current supporters we collectively have across all platforms. So that's memberships, Patreon, Player, and Subscribe Star. And by the way, Subscribe Star is the best out of them. It gives the best return to creators. But that also means literally a whole third of the business income is coming from supporters at the moment. That's how much of an incredible like support you guys are. A whole third of our revenue is from you guys. Thank you. And we've been taking measures, going the extra mile to give back content for you, exclusive content for those who support us. The thing is though, right, if anyone was in the position to be able to help, and I don't expect everyone will be, and I'm so grateful for anyone who's able to help out in any way possible, okay? Liking and sharing is tremendous as well, okay? And even if only 10% of people who watch this video were able to contribute even $1 a month, that's $12 a year, you would get access to the fun, exclusive content that we actually have a heap of fun making. But that would also make us completely sustainable, and we will be absolutely free from relying on YouTube. You know, you might not think $1 is much, it's a drop in a bucket, but there's still a very strong community here, a huge fan base that loves the content. And if you did want to help us out, that might be one of the only ways that's how we would be able to survive this. $1, when put together with everyone else, can do a lot more than you might think. And being free from YouTube, of course, then I would be happy for people to watch our content off of YouTube, to not be reliant on it, just to be free from it, because there needs to be a viable, competitor and alternative. And I would even start making exclusive content for the other platforms, and even more for our members and things like that. Can't at the moment, because 2/3 of the revenue is the ad revenue, and we need that. But even that is probably not going to be enough. That's just been getting worse. You see this death spiral. You see the performance of the current, the most recent videos, and you see this drop off cliff. And again, you only see that the result of getting no new subscribers, right? Even with videos that did really, really well, is the result of those videos not getting shown to new viewers. Okay, and even the recommendations to our subscribers have dropped dramatically. The lowest impressions I've ever had on the channel for 5 years. And remember, 5 years ago, I wonder how big the channel was. Probably around the 100,000 mark or something like that. Or at least a couple 100,000. But even back then, more recommendation. Yeah, so things aren't going great on Shadiversity. And by the way, I'm going to find a way to make content always. I love making content. And Night's Watch is a lot of fun, and it's been growing, okay? Nowhere near sustainable to support everyone by any means, but it has been growing, and it's been really enjoying that. And so, of course, I'll still be making Night's Watch, still be making Shadiversity for as long as I can, depending on the resources and who I'm able to pay, basically. No subscribers means no new viewers. No new viewers means the channel will only die. Person who subscribed can't subscribe again, and they're not going to rewatch content. And here's the thing. Recommendations, impressions, right? Lowest they've been are in over 5 years. But recommendations are supposed to be determined by click-through rate. Okay, so maybe people are less interested in the content, clicking less, which is supposed to be the reason you get fewer impressions. Current click-through rate on the channel as far back as 2018, so we're looking at 6 years, are the highest they've been on the channel. And by the way, not just at the beginning of the issues in January, okay, we've had highest click-through rate on the channel since February last year, so about a year flat. We have been consistently getting higher click-through rate. Now, click-through rate is an awkward thing to understand, especially with large channels, because with a very large channel, on average, you expect around 10% of your subscriber rate to get views. So if you have a million subscribers, your average should be around 100,000 views. Dropping off a cliff in regards to that ratio. But it also means for large channels, click-through rates on average are much lower for large channels than they are for smaller channels. And so if you're looking at this and say, wow, your click-through rate is really low, on average between 3 and 4% click-through rate, this is actually standard for very large channels. And it's been standard for my channel, and in actual fact, the click-through rate has been a bit higher in the last year. But that doesn't make sense. Click-through rate should usually inform the algorithm that people are liking and interested in it, and also watch time as well. Watch time has always been really high. Likes, dislikes, really high. Interactions, comments, really high. That none of those are problems, all right? And those are the things that are supposed to inform the algorithm to then recommend the content again and give it more impressions. But it doesn't seem like YouTube is interested in actually getting the most popular content to be viewed the most amount of times. They're vastly more interested in getting people to watch the type of content that they deem appropriate and they want people to watch. And I've mentioned they're on record about saying this. And one of the casualties in that agenda is Shadiversity. It's seriously been put on the boot, and most definitely more so in the last 3 months. And even with a good click-through rate, recommendations are through the floor. And you can see a distinct drop in January, where there was this change in the algorithm, something happened, or someone decided to put the hammer down on Shadiversity to restrict its reach to new viewers, and it's really, really getting hammered. And by the way, there's been multiple reports of Google generally doing something like this year. Started this year, there's been changes where a lot of independent websites have reported a drastic reduction in traffic, specifically traffic from like Google searches and stuff, that distinctly coincides with something happening at the beginning of this year. One of the more prominent sword YouTube content creators reached out to me and said things have been bad for a while, but it seems to have gotten vastly worse in January. So I'm not the only one that's noticing this. I don't think it's across the whole platform. There are certainly content creators that YouTube does seem to preference and prioritize, but in certain other communities, it's under the boot or the thumb. So people have been noticing that something has changed, and it's affecting people in a devastating way. And Shadiversity, if things don't change, this is a death sentence on the channel, and the future is in jeopardy. I will always try and make content in whatever way I can. I love it, but the future is an unknown as to what that will look like, and what will happen. So what's the cause of it? I get the impression that it's from multiple sort of things. Something actively being changed in the algorithm, to the very negative effect of shorts, as well as the size of the channel, because sometimes large channels can be the victims of their own success. But I think shorts have been devastating for Shadiversity and the whole platform, honestly. So hear me out. YouTube was recommending all creators to get on board with shorts. Do shorts. That's how you're going to get sub growth. That's where it's at. And so we gave it an honest go, and we made some really fun shorts. I actually think they are quite enjoyable and watchable, but you make no money off of shorts. And we've discovered a vastly greater issue with them, because we got a huge amount of subscribers from shorts, and we did everything we could to try and get those short subs to watch our regular content. If you watch any of the shorts on Shadiversity, you'll see a strong call to action to a larger form video. And so out of the 352,000 subscribers we gained since we begun to make shorts about a year and a half ago, which was in August of 2022, nearly 300,000 of those subscribers came from shorts. That is 83%. 83% of all the new subscribers we got over a year and a half period solely from shorts. People might think that's great. Look at all those subscribers you got. Well, it seems short viewers barely watch regular content, like at all. I mean, this is why you can see channels that are a shorts channel that have millions of subscribers, and even though they make regular long-form, regular video content, so one a week or a couple, one a month or whatever they are, they barely can crack 10,000 views. They have millions of subscribers, barely get 10,000 views, because their short subscribers simply do not watch regular content. And is it a combination between they just don't watch the content, as well as YouTube not recommending regular content to people who subscribe from shorts, or just are more often watching the shorts feed? So after trying everything we could to try and get our new short subscribers, and nearly 300,000 of them in the last year and a half, to watch regular content, we've barely seen any real translation and effect and growth from that at all. Now, no effect. Like recently, got nothing. Because pay attention, right? The subscriber death that happened at January happened before I stopped doing shorts. Now I've stopped, but I continued making shorts a good month after something happened. And shorts were usually the way or the source that was getting heaps of subscribers. No new subscribers, not even from shorts. And they were, if I was getting any benefit from them, getting slight translation, didn't seem like much. Now I'm getting none. No subscriber growth at all from shorts. No subscriber growth over the whole thing. And so that's when we decided to stop doing shorts because we're getting nothing out of it. No ad revenue, no subscriber growth. And it seems like that subscriber growth is a deal with the devil. We're left with nearly 300,000 short subscribers that still don't watch our regular content, and that's the content that supports the channel. And remember, our content isn't just like more than a minute. The average content on Shadiversity is 20 to 30 minutes, and this is an audience that likes to watch 1 minute long things, as well as YouTube just not recommending stuff to that audience either. And I think that has been a big thing that's affected it. Doesn't really explain why our content isn't being recommended to new viewers, and not getting any subscriber growth at all, because even with like low recommendations and low click-through rates as a result and everything, like these are still good videos and really enjoyable to watch. And you'd think there'd be some measure of interest in them through non-subscribers, but have a look at the viewership in like the backlog content versus now. The backlog content and recent content is just not getting recommended to new viewers at all. It's been crushed to a fraction of what it used to be, far more than what you could try and explain with saying that there are, because by the way, the average click-through rate is still higher on the channel. And so the impressions are just tanked. And even if we try to explain it through the fact that so many shorts viewers are not watching any of the content, doesn't really explain why it's not getting recommended as much as an average video should. But the issue is the average click-through rate on the channel is actually higher over the past 2-year period. Okay? We have the same click-through rate now as we did last year, which wasn't affected by the influx of short subscribers then, and views were much, much better. Something has changed drastically in January, which has just killed things. What now, right? Unless something changes, this channel looks screwed. Shadiversity looks screwed, okay? Fan support through memberships, Patreon, Player, and Subscribestar being the best option might be what saves the channel. But we have got a long way to go before sustainability, like literally 3 times as many as we have now. And I understand if people aren't in a position to help out in that regard. Now, it's not a donation or a charity. We do give content back to people who support, and it's fun additional content, right? And again, thank you so much to everyone who is supporting. Like, if it wasn't for you, we would already be done. Okay. So the other option with, I don't know what's happened to Shadiversity, and it doesn't look like things are going to change, might be to start over. I'll try and keep things going for as long as I can here, of course. There might be no way to save it, okay? And to that end, I love making this content, always will, and like I said, I'll try and stay here as long as I can, but there might literally come a point where it becomes pointless. That it's not getting the revenue it needs to sustain itself, and it's not working out, right? And so to that end, okay, I am trying something. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I've repurposed my Shadlands channel. So I started the Shadlands to make new content around the development of my property, building the Shadlands, the dream of building castles, when things were looking much, much better. But I've had to put it on indefinite hold for over a year because I haven't had the money to continue development there. But not only that, haven't even had the resources to film additional content separate to developing the property, because we were just making content which was based around all this fun stuff. And so it's sad to see that I can't do it because we didn't have the time or resources to make any content there. And that's just the filming, let alone editing. And, you know, I would have needed to hire a new editor to try and have content for the channel. And there was no content on it for a flat year. It was dead in the water, and things don't look like they're getting better. It looks like they're getting worse. And so the channel was doing nothing. And so I can use it for a very important purpose. And so Shadiversity videos appear to be dying, partly because of how poorly they are doing with, so many short subscribers, inactive subscribers, the suppression of the reach and everything. And if Shadiversity is now getting seriously shadow banned, right? Yet the content is still good, starting over on a new channel, but not necessarily just mirroring content. I can actually do some interesting things with the Shadlands, because there is a whole wealth of videos, a backlog, that the new generation coming to YouTube have never seen, and they're not going to get recommended it. Those videos are effectively dead now, but they are phenomenal videos. And so I can try and use their channel, the Shadlands, to bring that content to a new generation, but also try and make it easier to watch. If anything that we can learn from shorts at the moment, it seems like there is an audience for shorter, easier to consume content. You don't have enough time in a minute to even cover a topic well, but I can see that there could be an appeal with shorter content. And so I can take the old content, the really popular content, and re-edit it in a shorter, snappier, more consumable format, with the hopes of putting it on a new channel to potentially reach a new audience that haven't seen Shadiversity content before, or know the awesome fun stuff about swords and everything. And so I can do that with my most popular videos, and then my really long videos that cover multiple subjects, right? I can clip out the individual subjects that I cover within those videos and package it as a complete singular video that covers that singular topic, again, to make it more accessible, and people can find me talking about those topics without having to dig through an hour-long video. Again, making it more consumable and accessible. There are millions of new users on the platform that are not getting shown this content, and this might be a way to reach them. And it's also an opportunity for me to revisit the OG content, some of the very first videos I ever made, right? Remake them with much higher production value, with much better equipment and references and resources to demonstrate and show, and package it in a way that hopefully will be more accessible to reach this new generation. So I will be making dedicated videos for the YouTube channel, the Shadlands, as well as repackaging great content that is not getting viewed on Shadiversity. And this does not mean I'm going to stop making videos on Shadiversity in the meantime. I will, but this is also building up a backup. If Shadiversity legitimately does die, right, the Shadlands might very well be the way to go to on a channel that isn't getting kicked under the boot, that has been devastatingly damaged by shorts content, and might give second life and a second chance. So the Shadlands is already been rebranded. The channel is already up and it's monetized, which is useful for that as well. And I would only encourage people to subscribe if they're interested in watching the content there. Please do not subscribe if you're not going to watch the content. But if you like the shorter, easy to consume content, to revisit old classics of Shadiversity, please do subscribe. Check out the content, and that might be one of the ways to try and survive this. And look, it might not work out, because one of the issues that could be facing Shadiversity is not something that's targeted to the channel. It could be targeting to sword-based content, or this type of content specifically. And that would mean that the Shadlands content is going to get suppressed and see no real reach to new audiences either, which means this type of content that specifically I'm making, at least, is pretty much screwed. YouTube does not seem like it has a bright future for people like me at all. But it's weird. Night's Watch is growing and I'm having a lot of fun, and that also might be able to grow to be sustainable in and of itself, because it's not facing the issues. Well, it started to face issues, but then it's been given second life with certain things that are happening in the gaming sphere, let's call it. And this is the state of YouTube for me, and the Shadiversity channel as is. It's not a very positive one. There are things that I still try and hope. I'm not giving up. I'll be making content, but it feels like the mark of death has been placed on it. And when things like drop and get really worse for certain types of content, because remember, stuff like this has happened to other content spheres in the past. It was animation content that was doing really well, and then YouTube prioritized longer content, and they just basically killed off an entire genre of content. And that very well could be what's happening to the content sword-related content on YouTube, or just Shadiversity. But it's happened before where people have just been killed off. The channels have been killed off. I mean, not people, but the content creators and their ability to make content has been killed off, and their channels die. And it happens, okay? I've been very, very lucky with what I've been able to do on Shadiversity. Not everyone has that opportunity. So even if it does die and have to pivot and change and, adapt, right? Very grateful for everyone who has watched me along the way. I really am thankful to everyone. It has been a blast. I am tremendously lucky. I'm still going to be around. I'll always be making content, but things might have to change. And then I just have to see what will happen in the future as a result. So look, I genuinely appreciate all of you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the support, especially these supporters donating money. I'd already be dead if it wasn't for you. The channel would be dead if it wasn't for you. But also the viewers and everyone. Appreciate yous. Thank you. And we'll see how long we can keep this thing going.